In 3, 2, 1. You're live.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the entire Brentwood Board of Education and Central Administration, I'd like to welcome everyone to our March 18th business meeting. We have a full agenda, and what we're going to do is we're going to call the meeting to order and then just go right into exec. So with that being said, I am calling the meeting order at 5:04 p.m. Welcome, everyone, and could I have a motion to convene general session, please?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Moore. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Trustee Burgos. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. So now I need a motion to recess general session and convene exec session at 5:04 p.m. For the purpose of seeking legal advice to the from the board's attorney and matters leading to the appointment of a particular person. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Felix. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Trustee Safiri. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. So to the general public that's out there, we hope to see you back at 7 p.m. Tonight for the continuation of our meeting. Thank you so much. And if Ms. Cheng, if you could just let us know when we are in
1, you're live.
Hi, welcome back to the Brentwood community. On behalf of the Board of Education Central and our council, we are back to public. We apologize for being 16 minutes late, but there's always a lot to discuss, and we are working diligently to do everything for the district. With that being said, I would like to invite everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight, we just have a great start to our meeting. It is a special presentation revolving around my brother's keeper, Ms. O'Connor. I think that we have a couple of people in the waiting room for this presentation. Mr. Loescher, you want to give us some background while we're waiting for this?
Well, as you said, that was a great lead-in. This is going to be just a great start to a business meeting. We're so pleased to have my brother's keeper here, which is such a vibrant organization in this district. It has really grown over the last few years. And the person I'm going to introduce first is a large reason as to why it has grown and been so vibrant. We would not be where we are right now without Dr. Akil. So it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Akil, who really is kind of like the founding member of My Brother's Keeper. And then she's going to introduce some of the advisors who are just tremendous people. And I've had the pleasure of seeing them at a few of the meetings, and they have given their heart and soul into this organization. And then we're going to top it off by meeting one of our outstanding students that you're going to have a pleasure to hear from this evening. So it's my honor to introduce Dr. Akil.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, Board of Education. Happy Women's History Month to the esteemed women leaders on the board. Also, thank you, Mr. Loescher, for that awesome introduction. I'm going to just start with a few slides just to bring everyone up to speed, but we're definitely going to turn it over so we can get to the main event, which is hearing from our awesome students. So at this time, I'm going to share my screen just to bring everyone up to speed with My Brother's Keeper so we all know what this is about. So My Brother's Keeper, as Mr. Loescher mentioned, is a part of a statewide initiative. Actually, it was a national initiative under President Obama. But in New York State in 2016, we became the first state in the United States to actually create an allocation for this type of programming. And so tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the program and talk about where we've been since the shift in our practice and because of the pandemic, but just to let you know that we are still going strong. So we're going to talk about service, leadership, and scholarship. So first of all, again, in 2017, we were awarded this grant. It was a 3-year grant. And we began our partnership with Stony Brook University and Youth Enrichment Services. And under the guidance and the support of the Board of Education and Superintendent Loescher, we have worked to try to increase the outcomes, academic and social outcomes for young men of color in our district through mentoring, leadership development, and a focus on college and college awareness. In 2018, under leadership of Suffolk County Executive Stephen Ballone, we became the first My Brother's Keeper community in Long Island. And so with that, we have a commitment to the community to work hand in hand with the community to address issues that the people in this community feel are important. And so we have been doing that over the past 2 years with our steering committee that I have to tell you that Trustee Paula Moore is a very, very active member of the My Brother's Keeper steering committee. So some of our goals, again, are about increasing students' awareness of college and their readiness for careers. So we do a lot of intentional work around that in our weekly meetings and also in some of our events that have taken place over the last few years. We also try to create a very meaningful engagement with parents. So we always have parent meetings where we share some of the same information with parents that we're sharing with the students so that everyone has an awareness of what the expectations are and what the supports are available to them. We work to try to reduce the risk factors that prevent young men of color from graduating from high school in 4 years. And so we believe that these interventions are going to support our young people so they can be very successful after they leave us in a few years. So we've done a lot of work, and we're going to talk about, some of the things that we've done. But in addition to the goals that I mentioned, there are other goals that we have. We try to be very intentional about creating leadership opportunities, which you'll hear about in a few moments. Try to create a brotherhood and a sense of teamwork. So we have students from all aspects, all parts of the academic spectrum that participate in the program. And we want to foster a sense of caring and concern and a sense of brotherhood amongst all the participants, which you'll hear them speak of that. In addition to that, we expect them to serve. We expect them to lead and to serve. And so that is what we do. We try to structure opportunities for them to serve in those capacities. I wanted to share a little bit about some of the projects that our students were involved in the past. We have a fellows project where some of our seniors get a special stipend from New York State to work on a specific community issue that they are concerned about. So last year, we were involved in an intergenerational digital dialogue where our students work with senior citizens in the community in order to really get to know them a little better, but also to try to help them. The goal was to help them learn to navigate their devices a little better. But the result was some really great conversations, and the seniors were very happy to have this opportunity to meet with our young people. We've worked with the Brentwood Public Library to create a book fest to promote early literacy and to also kind of let young kids know that reading is cool. So when you have these really, athletic and smart, funny young men talking about reading and reading books to elementary school kids, we think that's going to make other kids say, I'm going to read more because I want to be like that young man that I just saw. And last but not least, we've engaged in some community home visits where our older students work to encourage young people who were in the lower grades who have been a little absent, maybe chronically absent, by going to their homes, meeting with them. And there's a picture of that on your screen, meeting with them and talking to them about some of the challenges they have faced and why they continue to come to school. So that really had a great impact. This is our young people at the Pronto working with the senior citizens. So I just wanted to share that with you and just how excited the seniors were. And of course, this was pre-pandemic, but they were really excited to have our young people talking to them and getting to know them. This is a scene of some of our students actually going to a home. We asked the families for permission. They were very happy. We provided them with baskets of food, and we just really tried to meet them in a peer-to-peer model, just encouraging them to re-engage in school. And we have had some success with that. And this is Superintendent Lochner, who was very involved and supports all of our initiatives. And he came and met we call it the street team, the street outreach team. He came and met and encouraged them before they actually launched to do their home visits, which we will be doing again outdoors, outside of the home, starting in April. We'll be doing that same initiative this year. So why we really are here is to celebrate some of the great work that our students have done, celebrate their community service. And I also wanted our advisors to come and talk about how they have pushed through even in a pandemic. So even though we can't gather in the same ways and we can't do all the activities that we used to do, our advisors and their leadership has made it so that our young people are still engaged and still doing community service. So I think that's something that should be celebrated. Absolutely. So before I turn it over to Dr. Taylor, I just want to publicly recognize all of the advisors. Some of them can't be here tonight because they're actually coaching and supporting our students in other ways. But I wanted to make sure that you knew who they were. So first of all, you'll hear from Dr. Taylor, who's an assistant principal. And without his support, we couldn't get this done. He really has been such a great leader from the beginning of the program. Jorge Aranda, who is a new teacher this year, first year teacher, Brentwood graduate, and he's a girls junior varsity soccer coach, is the freshman center advisor. Mr. Morgan, a math teacher who's working at the high school as well as East Middle School, is an advisor at the high school. Marisol Pagan, you'll hear from. She has been an advisor from the beginning, and she's also an amazing den mom to all of our young men. I want to recognize our community mentors who are paired up with our fellows, Magali Roman, Celia Volmer, Marvin Smith, and Dr. Corinne Graham. And finally, I wanted to just say thank you to our principals and our leaders, because without them, we couldn't get any of this done. So Mr. Callan, Mr. Otera, Ms. Thomas Williams, who's been helping with the My Brother's Community Steering Committee. Thank you, Dr. Doolin, and Mr. Wayne Abenis, who always makes sure that our students have access to SATs and does college workshops for all of us. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Taylor. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Akil. Good evening. I want to start off on a personal note. A sincere thank you to the Superintendent, Mr. Lochner, members of the Board of Education, for your vote of confidence in granting me tenure effective July. This was a huge accomplishment for me. I'm still floating on air. I was a little disappointed in that I wasn't able to celebrate, but I came into the office one day and Mr. Otera, my principal, had an office party and we celebrated in the front office. And I'll remember the time for the rest of my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's wonderful.
Huge thank you to Dr. Akil. You've heard her speak, you've seen her in action. She has a sincere passion for this program. We appreciate her vision and support of our MBK program. Mr. Otera, my principal, had came to us early in the year, and he had a strong desire to get extracurricular activities up and running in the Freshman Center. And one of the first activities that we were able to start in the Freshman Center was our MBK program. Our MBK program from the start, we meet 2 days a week. We meet in person for the hybrid students, and we alternate those days. So for the green and gold, they have an opportunity to meet in the Freshman Center. On both of our meetings, though, they are virtual to engage our remote students. As we said before, our advisor are Mr. Jorge Aranda, and we have Mr. Bismarck from the YES program that provides workforce and college and career development. We kind of center around social and emotional learning. Our students, we find, need a social outlet from, just the times that we're in, and not having that traditional school experience and the socialization that goes with it. So we provide that outlet within our MBK program. We touch base on current events. We touch base on social issues. A designated book called Dragon Hoops. Our students are really burnt out from just distance learning. So we had to be very careful in trying to promote literacy within the group. So we were able to find, it's actually a comic book about 300 pages, easy reading. And it's about the issues surrounding the coach and a high school basketball team and all the mentorship that goes with that. And it touches upon race and ethnicity, and it has been a good book read for our students. We do online games like Kahoot that kind of tie in the students that are meeting in person and connecting with the students that are joining us online. Our really first big event that we threw our MBK students into was the Gary Mentz Scholarship Run and Virtual Run. Very successful program for the Freshman Center. Our students designed a t-shirt design contest that went out not only to the students in the school, but the students that are online. And we actually had a remote student win that t-shirt contest. We were keeping track of students running on that day, along with keeping track with students that were running virtually at their homes or in their neighborhoods. It was an all-encompassing event. We had t-shirt theme days, and we were able to raise over $1,200 for our scholarship. So a very, very successful program. We have monthly joint meetings with the high school, and it's generally centered around a guest speaker with a theme. And I'll let the high school talk about that, Ms. Pagan. We participated in Black History. We'll talk about that community service event in a second. But we had a culminating activity at the Freshman Center, which was an open mic event where our MBK students recited inspirational quotes. A couple of big things that we have coming up, in addition to some community service projects, we're going to do an adventure park, and it's a zip lining event. I think it'll be the third year that we've gone there. They're shutting down the park just for our MBK students, so to be safe, socially distanced. You can't get more socially distanced than zip lining from one tree to another. It's a great team building activity. We're looking forward to doing that. And the last thing I want to touch base on is we are going to do an end of year ceremony that has been our culminating event for our MBK students to kind of celebrate their accomplishments throughout the year. One of the things that has become very popular in that is our tie-tying ceremony. We recite the MBK Creed, and it's really, showing where they're going from adolescence to young adults. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Ms. Pagan, and she can kind of talk about when we get together as a group and some of our community service activities.
All righty. Yes. Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, Marisol.
Great. Good evening. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Good evening to Superintendent Mr. Lochner and the members of the Board of Education. I'd like to start with a social emotional learning technique that we do with our students. How are you feeling? Tell me. Smile, do a smiley face or frown or thinking. What emoji? Come on, I want to see everyone. Show me. How are you
I'm
feeling?
doing a thumbs up and a smile.
All right.
Who knows about the emojis? I can't do that.
Yes, come on, use your emojis. All right, Julia. All right. I love it. Thank you. So this is the reason why I do this is because it's so important to do this with our own students, even our children. They need to feel connected, especially during a time where everyone's sensitive, everyone's going through something. And especially with our MBK members, they definitely went through a traumatic moment. I mean, their whole life changed within the last year. And so starting from March of last year of 2019, we had to become very innovative in how we were going to connect with our children virtually, because that was the only means of communicating that we had with our students. And so we started with obviously getting connected. Most of our students had phones, cell phones, laptops at home, thank goodness. And so we were able to continue our virtual MBK meetings on a weekly basis. And within the last year, I have to say, our guest speakers, which turned out to be our closest friends and acquaintances and people that we know in the business of education. And they came through for us, thank goodness, because they have been wonderful mentor speakers. Our MBK members have taken so much. I mean, I'm talking about architecture technicians, a children's author, a marketing entrepreneur, a financial advisor. And the way that we decided to have these guest speakers talk to us via Teams was because we surveyed our MBK members. We wanted to know, what is it that you want to learn about? Who would you like to see? What do you want to do in the future? What are your dreams? What are your goals? And from that survey, it resulted that that's what they wanted to know. They wanted to see young, successful, Black and brown people like them. And we managed to do that. We've had wonderful, amazing speakers on our weekly meetings. And talking about that, we're gonna have someone coming up in next week. Our very own Angel Rivera, I believe. He's our
Perez.
fine performing arts.
Perez.
Perez,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, Perez.
Perez.
Perez. He's going to be, oh, thank you,
There
Dr.
we
Gill.
go.
He's going to be our next guest speaker. And the topic is going to be the African influence in Latin music. So I'm hoping that he'll bring the drums, and our students will be actively joining us in celebrating music. And that's what connects us all pretty much, especially students. They love music, love music. And so we're looking forward to that. We're also going to be having a few other guests like Phil Ramos. He's going to be one of our visitors, our guest speakers in a couple of weeks, in a couple of months. We'll be having a Dr. Jean Phillips coming back to us to discuss COVID and the consequences and preventing the spread of COVID. So that's going to be one of the biggest discussions that we're going to have in the month of April. Many students are inquiring about that. Should they go for the vaccine or not? So we're going to have a specialized person, a doctor, to come to talk to us about it. The last couple of months, we were involved with MLK Day of Service, and approximately 10 students and myself and Mr. Morgan, my other co-advisor, participated in handing out food, care packages, and to our local community members that are in need. And that was a wonderful activity. Our students really had a lot to say about that, and they want to give back. So they're planning to do this again. And fortunately, we were able to do it on March 17th. We had a feeding the homeless activity. We collaborated with Pronto, Adelante, and another healthcare, U.S. Healthcare, I believe. They were on board, and Suffolk County Police. And we had 4 different venues that we visited and provided our services. It was a wonderful evening. It was cold. Believe me, it was freezing. It was like 30 degrees out there between the hours of 4 and 8, and it was no joke. We were out there, we had gloves, our hats on, our heavy coats, but we did it. We were able to meet with people that were actually hiding under trucks in the back of some bodegas down on 111, trying to keep warm. And we provided them with a dish and blankets. And it really hit home because this is my community. And to see what's happening, it felt good to give back. So, we were freezing, it didn't matter. We were out there and we were getting it done. And it really does take a village. So that was basically it. That's what we've been doing. That's what we plan on doing. And I hope to see you at the end of the year ceremony. That would be wonderful.
Thank you so much, Marisol, for all you do, giving up your weekends and really working with our young people. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
at this time, we're going to introduce a young man who is one of our MBK fellows. He's a senior at Brentwood High School, and he has been in the program for 4 years. He started in the freshman center, and the Board of Ed wanted to recognize Ezekiel because 2 weeks ago, Ezekiel was featured in a Newsday article for his work in community service, working with Pronto and his mentor, Magali Roman. So I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about what he has been doing. And I asked him to focus on 2 questions, and that is, why does he get involved in community service? And also, what has MBK meant to him? So I'm going to turn it over to Ezekiel. And we're proud of you, Ezekiel. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you again, Dr. Akil. My name is Ezekiel Diaz. Hope everybody's doing well today. Like everybody said, she wanted me to answer some 2 questions. So I'm going to start off with why I enjoy doing community service. I am the type of person to go out and try to help as much as I can. So every time when I got to start talking to Dr. Akil more about becoming a fellow, I was so excited that I could do a little bit more in my community. So when they started pairing me up with a mentor, I paired up with Magali Roman, because I knew that Pronto was a place that people would go for food. And almost for like about a few months now, almost every Saturday, I've been going to Pronto, been making food bags for everybody. And for the people that come and ask for food, I would always give it to them. And it just opens my heart, because to see people come and ask for food, it's just a little bit sad, but at the exact same time, I know I'm doing a little bit of change by giving someone a bag of food as much as I can. And like I said, it really does hurt a little bit to see them, but it always like have a special place in my heart, because I know I'm doing a little bit of change with everything that's happening with COVID and everything. Me and Miss Magali have been trying to do as much as we could, as much as we can, to help our community. Like Miss Pagan was saying, we went out to feed the homeless, and it was freezing. It was very cold, but it was all worth it, because me and 4 other students from the freshman center got to go out, got to give out food to everybody. People that came up to us saying, "Could we have some?" We gave it to them. Of course, we can give you. It's always like, to me, helping people is one of the key environments that everybody should have. Not everybody has that mentality, because, why would I go out and help? But I always want to try to do my best and help. Like Dr. Akil said, I've been in MBK for 4 years now. I've been there since they started. I'm so happy to say that I am one of the original people that were in MBK since the freshman center. Being in MBK is just a great opportunity for everybody. For me, because I got to meet new people, make new friends, get new opportunities for everybody. And to become years later, it's just opened my opportunities to the max. I've been accepted to 4 other colleges just because they knew that I went to MBK and that we went there to visit the same colleges. I applied to the same colleges that we went to visit for every trip we went. They always said, "Oh, of course," because he went to MBK. That gave me more opportunity to get accepted to those colleges. And me being MBK is one of the best things I've ever done in my entire life, because I enjoy making new friends, having a brothership, like I said, like everybody's saying, becoming one as a team. It's always been a key environment for me, because if you don't have someone to back up your side, then you have no one, and you can't do this by yourself. You need a team to help you as much as you can. And I'm just very happy that everybody here can see that I'm trying to do my best to do as much as I can for our environment, because Lord knows we definitely need some help.
That was beautiful. Beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Mr. Lochner, thank you, Ezekiel.
Thank you.
That was fabulous, Ezekiel. Really wonderful. I know, Mr. Feliciano.
Yeah, no, I just, I've had the pleasure of being at these ceremonies at the end of the year, the nodding of the tie ceremony. I don't know if that is the right name. And I'm sure I've seen you, Ezekiel, multiple times. And I think that you represent the group just outstandingly. I just, hearing everything that you said, knowing how young you are, is just so inspiring to me. And I think the entire board who continues to service in the same way that you just outlined. We are members of this community, we are volunteers, and you just represented what it is that we're trying to do, as old as we are. It's such a young place, and I just, my hat and my goes off to you, and we just have to keep this spirit alive, because one of the things that you just said, and I know it resonated with me as well as everybody else here, is that you can't do this, and what you meant by this is you can't live this life without the support system that you wonderfully outlined. And I hope that that the district, regardless of who is here, will always be here to try to assist you and and really all the students that come through our school districts, you know, and that's part of what we should be leaving as a legacy. And good for you, good for you. And I really do wish you all the luck in the world. It sounds like you have a wonderful path before you. So on behalf of the Board of Education, thank you for everything that you've contributed to our community, you and your brothers over at My Brother's Keeper.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And you know, I just, if we're going to end the ceremony now, I want to just thank everybody that's here, all the volunteers, from the top, from you know, Dr. Akil, all the way down to the student volunteers. We can't do it without a great team. And it sounds like that's exactly what you have. So to you, Dr. Akil, Dr. Taylor, and Ms. Pagan, thank you so much for everything that you contributed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Excellent, excellent.
Could I
Thank
just
you.
say one quick
Thank you.
thing?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I would just like to say, being a part of the steering committee, it's a special kind of joy that I get watching these young people, seeing how they've grown. There were young boys in there and watching them enter into manhood and some of the goals that they have. It's absolutely phenomenal. And as I said, it's a special kind of joy. And I know that all of you, Dr. Taylor, Dr. Akil, and you know, all of you must feel that same joy. You have to, you know, and our kids are phenomenal,
Absolutely.
absolutely phenomenal.
Mhm.
So, you know, kudos to all of the other volunteers, to Ms. Pagan and everyone else. And we are the model, because I've gotten requests from other school districts wanting to know, how did we get My Brother's Keeper in Brentwood, because they want to follow what we have.
Right.
So thank you again, all of you volunteers.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
meeting
Guys,
you.
Thank you so much.
Sakil.
Thanks, Ezekiel.
Thank you.
Great job, man.
Nice.
Great
Good
job.
job, Ezekiel.
Good job, Ezekiel.
Felicidades.
And we have to be thankful for California. Remember, Ezekiel, Oakland,
Yes, definitely.
and BK all day.
That was
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you
Have a
so
wonderful
much.
night.
Have a good day. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay, so now with that being said, and thank you so much, Mr. Loshner, for putting that together.
No, my pleasure. My
Wonderful, wonderful.
It really was.
So we will continue with our consent agenda. I am on page 1. Be it resolved that the following items be approved: B1A through B1M. I need a motion.
Motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Trustee Safiri has a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Be it resolved that the following items be approved: D2A through D2Q. I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Moore. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Second by Trustee Felix. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I abstain.
Ms. Hoey, do you have abstention? Thank you so much. Be it resolved that the following items be approved: C1A and C1B. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Felix. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Gonzalez Prescott. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. We are now going to D items. So we are on page 10, D1A, appointments, resignations, and leaves of certificated personnel. There is an amendment that we have to make on this before we move, and that is we will amend item number 1. The date on that has 10/26/21 through 4/5/21, and we're going to amend first date, which should read 10/26/20. And the second date will remain the same, which is 4/5/21. So we'll be voting on this as amended. Appointments, resignations, and leaves of certificated personnel as amended. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Safiri. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by trustee Felix. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. D1B, page 12, appointments, resignations, and leaves of non-certificated personnel as proposed on the agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Moore. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Second by trustee Gonzalez Prescott. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. D1C, page 13, approval of legal notice regarding annual district meeting and election as proposed on the agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Burgos. Could I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Safiri has a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. D1D, settlement agreement and general release as proposed on the agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Moore. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by trustee Holder Daniel. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. D1E, memorandum of agreement between Brentwood Union Free School District and Local 237 as proposed on the agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Felix. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Holder Daniel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. D1F,
Aye.
memorandum of agreement between Brentwood Union Free School District and the Brentwood Clerical Association as proposed on the agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Safiri. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second, trustee Gonzalez Prescott. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Administrative table of organization, coordinator of athletics. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints Francisco Herrera as the coordinator of athletics for a 4-year probationary period effective April 5th, 2021 through April 4th, 2025, and be it further resolved that Francisco Herrera shall be remunerated at a salary in accordance with the stipulations of the negotiated agreement between the Brentwood School District and the Brentwood Principals and Supervisors Organization. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Felix. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Safiri. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Congratulations, Mr. Herrera. We have all the confidence in the world that you're going to do a wonderful job for this district on behalf of the entire Board of Education and Central that's here, all right? So D1H, approval of additional workdays for Mr. Kevin O'Reilly as proposed on the agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Burgos. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by trustee Safiri. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. D1I, memorandum of agreement between the Brentwood Union Free School District and Local 237 as proposed on the agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Moore. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Holder Daniel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. G1A, student enrollment figures as proposed, as stated on the agenda. F17 is miscellaneous items for information only. And we are at G1A, old and new business, but we'll try to, Mr. Lucian, maybe we'll try to answer some of the questions before we go to old new business.
Sure, Mr. Feliciano.
So there are a couple of questions, and I guess the question is the same as we've had in the past. I'll try to summarize. Now that the weather is getting warmer, why can't meetings be held in person? Here are a few suggestions. The fact is, we are expecting that this executive order may be retired within the next month. I think that it might be, I mean, we seem to think that it's going to be retired soon. And you know, up until that time, I think that it is prudent for us to, you know, take into consideration that we still have a 6-foot mandate, social distancing, and you know, hopefully we will be back in person. You know, I want to say probably in May. I mean, that's probably what we're looking at. Number two it's just a statement that we get every board meeting. It's, you know, why are we trying to silence the community? You live stream the meetings. You know, you can only email questions and comments are off. What we talked about last time is that, you know, we are trying to accept questions during the meeting by emailing to the district clerk. As a matter of fact, we did get a question while we were in a meeting, and I have that for me. I guess the concern was that, you know, the comment section on the YouTube wasn't you know, wasn't always the nicest. It wasn't always, you know, as polite and professional as we're, you know, trying to run these meetings. And I think that was a bit of a distraction. That's my opinion personally. So we did open up email questions via email to the district clerk. She is acting as our moderator. And I know that, you know, when there is a question that gets sent to her, she can field it and redirect it to the most appropriate person or just send it to us. So thank you, District Clerk Hoey, for being our moderator. Mr. Loester, I am going to try to summarize the third question, and this is one for you. What is the grading policy for this school year, going to be? I'm going to summarize this question, and it seems like he or she who sent this question over felt that there was a tremendous amount of injustice last year in terms of the work that was being accepted for a pass-fail grade towards the end of the year. It seems like this family with their children spent a lot of time, you know, during that initial COVID break to try to make up, you know, the work that was, you know, that was being sent home, ultimately to feel like it was being dismissed, and that the pass grade or the pass-fail grade was based on the first few months that the school district was open, as opposed to end of last year's school year. And I could appreciate where they're coming from. Mr. Lucia, you have the question before you. So what is the grading policy for this school year? Is all of the work that's being done from the start to the finish of the school year going to be a part of that end grade that parents and students are looking for?
No, thank you, Mr. Feliciano. I also want to say the same thing that you said. I do want to thank that family and all of the other families who last year, and students who last year worked on, did a tremendous amount of work that was given to them in the months of March, April, May, and June. You know, we put a great deal of time and effort into, and thought into, how we were going to grade at the end of last year. And because there were so many inequities in terms of who had technology, the district, obviously, we were not, completely prepared, obviously, for the pandemic. So there was lots of inequities in terms of the distribution of packets, the collection of packets. We really do appreciate the effort that the parents and students put into their work last year. And now, obviously, I appreciate what the teachers and the administrators did also to put those packets together and get them out. And we also had many, many online classes as well, but it certainly was not what we have this year. So last year, we thought the only fair way to grade students was a pass-fail. And I understand that that might not have satisfied a great many people, and I am sorry about that, but that's what we thought was the fairest. This year, however, the grading is really the same as any other year. So the effort that your sons and daughters are putting in will certainly, you'll reap the benefits on your grades. So on the elementary level, as you know, we have two different types of report card. On the elementary level, we have trimesters, and that's a standard-based report card. That's still going to be the same way. It's obviously going to identify the strengths and weaknesses for each student. That will be identified on the report card, just as it would any other year. So that's, again, the same report card. I also want to say, to remind everybody on the elementary level, that we do plan on having enrichment programs this summer, K through 6, designed to help every student, with some of the deficiencies that they may have, and also enrich students as they go off to the next year. I also want to assure people that it is not our intention to leave students back. Very few students will be left back on the elementary level. However, that will only be after a great deal of effort will be exerted to help those students out. Now, on the secondary level, again, it's the same thing as in prior years. It will be 4 report cards. They will be numerical grades for all subjects, including phys ed. They will, obviously, it will identify through the comments the efforts that students are putting in. And I will tell you that there's also been a great deal of thought, to take into account the unique circumstances that each and every student is going through in this, in this crazy time here through this pandemic. And I want to thank that the teachers and the administrators, and actually Dr. Akil was a big part of this also, and that is a kind of a grading team on the secondary level was put together. And it's made up of teachers and obviously Dr. Akil and some administrators to take a look at how to fairly assess students in this COVID world that we're in right now. So I do believe that teachers are going to take that into consideration when they do the final grades. But I will tell this parent who sent that question in, students' efforts will be rewarded this year. And everyone will receive a numerical grade 6 through 12.
Thank you, Mr. Loescher. Mr. Loescher, you touched on something in terms of the summer school help, the enrichment programs. But I know that we have been planning for enrichment services starting, I believe, at the end of this month. And could you just elaborate a little bit on that? We're not waiting for the summer to do this. We actually have a plan now.
Oh yeah, no. We've been working quite a bit to try to devise ways to really help students who have, struggled over the last few months, and certainly understandably so. So yes, we do have some Saturday courses, Saturday classes rather, that will be given. I don't have the times in front of me right now, Mr. Feliciano, but that will be published and announcements will be made with plenty of time for parents to make arrangements. So yes, and we also have afternoon, I think that's what you were referring to.
Yes.
We have afternoon classes that will be given to students in all of the elementary schools. That's the 2 kindergarten centers and the elementary schools, that there'll be extra help given by teachers per grade level. That's first grade, second grade, etc. That will take place in the afternoon. Some of the schools are actually putting together classes that will be given, or extra help that will be given in the evenings or before school, in order to meet kids at times that are convenient for both kids and parents. So yeah, we're putting together a very robust extra help program over the next couple of months. as well as the summer school, the summertime. We certainly plan on helping students recover some of what they've lost during this pandemic.
Mr. Lochner, I know that we've mentioned at the last meeting, we also have an afternoon program that's new to the high school that we spoke of last meeting. And, since we're on the topic, might as well just throw that in there if you want to just expand on that.
Thank you so much, Feliciano. Yes, we're doing that as well. At the high school, we expanded our night school offering. And again, that was designed to that really recognizes the unique circumstances that many of our students are in. So what we obviously have night school, but that's not convenient for some kids because many of our kids, they go to school and the afternoon they have a little bit of a break, and then in the evening they go to work. Many of our students work. So what we said was, let's offer some night school classes in the afternoon. So we actually have 85 students. 85 of our students are taking 150 classes during the afternoon from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. I want to thank Mr. Jerry Chang, again, Dr. Akil. I want to thank the BTA because they obviously, had to get on board with this. So it's really a great addition to the Brentwood school community. We're really trying to meet kids where they need to be met because of the unique circumstances that we're all in. So we're really excited about that. I mean, 85 students taking 150 different classes. What a great opportunity for kids to catch up. This is credit recovery. These are students who need, it's really designed for seniors. These are seniors who may be a course or two behind. And if they take something in the afternoon, they can graduate with their classmates in June. And how fabulous is that?
That's great. Great. Mr. Lushner, if I were a parent in the school district at the elementary level, how could I ensure that my child was going to get those enrichment services that we just spoke about? How does somebody sign up? How do I advocate for my child? How is that system going to work?
Yeah, well, like I said, there will be announcements and a letter sent out probably by Ms. Palmer, the assistant superintendent, as well as the principals. But if a parent is concerned, always advocate for your child. Give a call to the office, the principal's office, and leave your son or daughter's name with the principal to make sure they get signed up for one of these courses.
Okay. And Ms. Lotion, so I'm going to go on to the last question, which was emailed to us at 7 o'clock. The question for the board is in regard to Young Authors Night. It's always been a highlight of the school year for students and families and teachers. Is the plan for the event to be in person? If so, will 6-foot social distancing and safety precautions be enforced? In the past, this has attracted a well-attended event and resulted in guests standing in the back of the auditorium and in hallways. With that said, this writer believes that a large in-person event would not be prudent at this time. I'm going to pick up the part of the answer, and then I'll throw it to you, Mr. Lochner. So from our perspective, this is a totally voluntary event. No one is being obligated to show up at this event. This is something that Central had put together as a way to try to celebrate this Young Authors Night. If there's anybody in the community who's not feel comfortable, if there's anybody who's out there, a staff member or anybody who is hesitant to be there, please, don't do it. And I can tell you right now that there are members of this board that will not be there, right? So but this is an opportunity that Central had put together to try to celebrate these kids in a way that hasn't happened in a very long time. I personally, I don't believe that this is going to be held any other way, but by the book, by making sure that social distance is in place and making sure that those rules are in effect. So Lochner, if you can pick it up from here.
No, I appreciate that, Mr. Feliciano. If I could just kind of tweak that a little bit, the way it's put together is we're actually going to have, it's really limited attendance. It's not open up to the public
Yes.
because of the social distancing and the concerns that community member outlined. So really, we're only going to have 15 students and their parents, okay, 2 guests in the auditorium. Plus, they'll have a teacher and an administrator in the building, the Board of Education, and some central administration. That's really all, because really right there, what I said was we're up to about 70, 75 people. That's all that the auditorium can hold at a safe distance. So it's really not open to the community, only to those students who've been invited along with their guests. However, it is obviously a community event. So we will have some students reading their own original work. And we also have a presentation that will be presented to the community. So you're going to have a combination of some live students reading their material, their work. And then you'll also have taped students that will also be broadcast over. And there'll be a link in the district website so you can go in. It's 7 o'clock on Monday evening. And I want to thank Trish Brockbank. She's done a tremendous amount of work. Plus, she has lots of Teresa Jackalone has been tremendous also, and lots of other people have helped out. Obviously, Ms. Palmer as well. It promises to be a great evening. It's going to be unique. Obviously, this is lots of things that we do these days are unique. But I do want to make it clear, we really are not prepared to accept anybody else except those that are invited, because it's actually a large audience at that point.
Mr. Lotion, I just want to reiterate, this is going to be live streamed as it happens, just
Yes.
like the board meeting.
Just
So
like the board.
anyone who thinks that they're missing out can just go on the website, click on the link, and view it just like it was a regular board meeting here.
Exactly.
Okay. I don't have any more questions, Mr. Lochner. I don't know if there's anything else that you'd like to add on the old and new business.
Yeah, I would, if you don't mind. I just have some things that I'd like to talk to the community about real quickly.
Sure.
One of them is kind of something I have to tell the community that we're doing, and it's called the Stop Arm Camera. I believe, Mr. Feliciano, I think we mentioned it a number of times, but it's actually happened. If I could just spend a few moments, because
Absolutely.
there are some glitches, and I'm sure some board members have heard about this. We haven't had an opportunity to speak about it. But just so you know, all of our buses, and we have over 300 that we get from Suffolk Transportation, all 300 buses have been outfitted with a stop arm camera. So what happens is when a bus stops and is ready to discharge the students, the arm swings out, and that says stop. On that arm, and there's one in the front of the bus, one in the back of the bus, there's a camera. And it's taking pictures of cars that are passing the bus when the stop arm is deployed. As everyone knows, you're supposed to stop at a certain distance behind the bus and not travel past. Very easy. Right now, all any community member is getting is a letter stating that, hey, you drove by the stop arm camera. It's just a warning letter to let you know, to be aware. In May, the county plans on going live with the stop arm camera, and they are going to charge anybody who passes the stop arm camera $250. It's a very steep fee, and I don't want any of our community members to get hit with that. However, there is a glitch, like every best laid plan, okay? There's always problems. What we're discovering is that many of our parents are driving onto the campus, as they do every morning. Let's take the high school, for example, this large campus. We have a separate bus lane. The buses are coming in, and they're opening up the door. And as soon as they open up the door, the stop arm is deployed. That's in the bus lane. Well, what's happening is people are traveling past that. They're being directed by security. Everything is safe. The students are not in any danger, but the cars are passing the buses, and they're getting these letters sent home. It's happening a lot of the elementary schools. I just mentioned the high school, but it's really happening in a lot of the elementary schools. I want to apologize, to any community member that's gotten that. I really do. I feel terrible. However, I've alerted the CEO of Suffolk Transportation, Mr. John Corrado, spoke to the county executive office because the county is the one that's running this program. They are working on a solution. So we have until May to solve this problem, and we will. Okay, but I do want the community to know about the program and also about the glitch. Okay, and I do apologize about that, but we should have an answer as to how to straighten that out.
Mr. Lochner, just to satisfy the curiosity, if by chance we don't have a solution by May, then do you know what the county is planning on doing? Because that's significant. I mean, that is absolutely a problem.
It's a big problem. I got to be honest with you. If they can't find a solution, they might have to shut it down because, how are they going to discern? And some poor parent is going to get a letter and maybe they didn't even break the law. They were literally in a parking lot. So yeah, I think if they don't come up with a solution, they're going to have to shut it down because I think there'll be just too many times where the ticket will be issued and it really isn't warranted.
Mr. Lochner, so in essence, you are saying that it is okay, it is legal to go ahead and continue in that lane. I know that I've always, worried about that same thing for myself when those buses have those flashing lights when they're just picking up and dropping off kids at the schools. So just for the general community, we can continue to move along without a problem.
Yes, I mean, if it's on the school campus and you're being waved forward by the school security officer, then absolutely. I don't believe you're in violation. Everything is safe at that point, obviously. Outside on the street, obviously you have to stop. What a lot of people don't realize also, I mean, I'm sure they do, we don't have many 4-lane highways here in Brentwood, but in essence, well, let's just carry this further. In essence, if a bus is traveling down
Fifth Avenue, use Fifth Avenue as your example.
If Fifth Avenue, for example, and they stop by the CVS, the new CVS there, and they pull out the stop arm camera, the other cars on the opposite side of the street, they're still mandated to stop. Okay, even if it's a 4-lane highway, they must stop. And that's one thing community members should be aware of. I think they are. But if you continue past, you might be not even realize it, you would get a ticket. Okay. And the smaller roads too, Suffolk Avenue again, wherever that bus stops, you have to stop no matter what direction you're traveling. But the real issue is in the parking lots, and I think that they're going to have to work that out somehow.
It's funny, Mr. Lochner, that you would mention that because I know that there are some school districts that actually use the streets to load and unload students. And that's, not necessarily on the campus itself. So it's going to be interesting how all this plays out.
That's a good point. Yeah, it really is interesting. And, I really don't want to see our community members hit with a $250 fine when they really weren't jeopardizing any of our kids. So,
okay.
We'll see. I'll keep you posted on that, though.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Go ahead,
Okay.
Mr. Lochner.
No,
go ahead.
A couple more things, if that's all right. I won't take too much more time. I do want to let the community know. I know a lot of community members are waiting for Central from me to get some guidance in terms of Regents examinations and the 3 through 8 math and ELA exams that are given to our 3rd graders through 8th graders. I want to tell you what's happening. First of all, the SED, New York State Department of Education, they have applied to the federal government for a waiver. If SED had their way, and also the Board of Regents, who governs the examinations, if the Board of Regents and SED had their way, they would prefer not to give any Regents exams or 3 through 8 exams to any students in New York State. Okay, but a lot of their funding is based on federal aid. And the federal mandates requires New York State to give a 3 through 8 math and ELA exam to our students. And it also is requiring us to give Regents exams or exit exams. And in New York, we call them Regents exams. So our New York State Ed Department and the Board of Regents would like a waiver from the federal government. It has not been granted yet. As a matter of fact, that was one of the first things they said they wouldn't grant. However, they've reissued the waiver. We will find out by the end of March whether that waiver has been granted. That aside, the Board of Regents and the State Ed Department have done what they could do, and they've waived some of the Regents' requirements because they're not federal requirements. So at this time, if you're a high school student, there are only 4 Regents exams that will be given this year. Okay, they are living environment, earth science, algebra, and ELA. Those are the only 4 exams that will be given. If we don't get the waiver, there's a possibility we get a waiver, but if we don't, those 4 Regents exams will be given. And if we don't get the waiver, we will be given just session 1 to the 3rd graders to 8th graders in ELA, and just session 1 for the math. Okay. But the reason you haven't received a letter or any more guidance from me is because I'm trying to wait to the end of March to see if the federal government grants New York State that waiver. As soon as I get a definite answer, I will send out to the community exactly the schedule of events. Okay. But that's where we are. I hope people follow that. The nicest slat exam, which is given to our E&L students, that will be given. And your kids will be receiving a schedule shortly from Miss Ortiz in her department, who's working on this massive undertaking. Okay, so that's that. And okay, son of a gun, that was it.
That was it. Okay.
Well, I have a question in regards to that. I mean, the parents have the option for 3 to 8 to submit an opt-out letter.
That's a great question, Marie. And yes, they still have the option of opting out. Okay. And certainly, they'll exercise that right. We'll accept that opt-out letter just as we did, in the past up to a certain time. Obviously, this is going to be very unique. If I can expand on that a little bit too. One of the things that you should know, 3 through 8 exams, we're not going to be giving it to the remote students. Again, I'm waiting to see about the waiver, but if the waiver doesn't go through, we will only be giving the 3 through 8 exams to the hybrid kids. We can't give it to the remote students. You have test security, which obviously you can't give a test to someone home because obviously then there's no test security. So you have to give it to the student in person and collect it that same day. So that's that. So only hybrid students will be taking that. We also have to get some guidance on the Regents exam. So for instance, if you're a green student on Monday, and that's when we give the algebra exam, what do you do about the gold students? We're working through that problem, with the high school staff. Again, we're trying to wait for some additional guidance. The Regents exams, obviously, you don't opt out of. You must take that. And also, I want to let the community know, as they should, and this will be included in my letter, that the state, the Department of Education is still going to give us some guidance as to how to put this on the report card and how to use this in terms of grading students, because many of the students will take an exam and many won't. So how is that going to be fair, and how is that going to impact students' transcript? All of these questions we're working through, but we're really waiting for that final guidance from New York State.
Any other questions from board members? Okay. Mr. Lotion, thank you so much. Those were wonderful updates, very, very useful. So with that being said, on behalf of the entire board, the central admin, and of course, council. Wish everybody a wonderful night and a great weekend. And I guess stay tuned for the Young Authors event on Monday at 7 o'clock. In the meantime, I am going to request that board members turn on their mics so that we can get a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion to adjourn by trustee Gonzalez Prescott, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Holder Daniel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved.